Here. Flap on. Okay. I don't know. I was going to do something cute before the video came on, but now it's on.
You just elbowed me.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Was the violence caught on video?
It was.
All right. Well, we're live now. We're live for our second episode of, what's this called? Of live video for the second Friday in a row. We are marginally prepared, super polished. We spend all of our time doing real estate. And so this just gets squeezed in at 10 o'clock on Friday, every Friday. This is the second episode. We got 2 more to go after this for the next couple Fridays. But today we have crazy breaking news coming to you, fresh, hot, live, just like, I was going to say fresh and hot like a loaf of bread. And then when I said live, I was going to say like a bucket of minnows, but.
That's great.
And today we're lucky because it's St. Patrick's Day. Not only are we lucky, but you're lucky. We're all lucky to be alive. We're lucky because it's St. Patrick's Day, but there are some people in this world that are not lucky. Joel, tell us about that.
Yeah, so a lot of interesting things going on.
All right. There you go. That's how we're starting this thing. All right. So we're going to go over some breaking news, and we've got lies. Do we have lies in the title of this?
I believe we do.
So we must deliver lies. Jennifer will be lying. That's how this works?
Lying down.
Oh, that's so funny.
Be lying down.
All right. Give us a joke really quick.
Oh, okay. Why are chickens so funny?
Why?
Because.
And that's your joke segment of the day. Let's move on. Okay. What are we going to cover first today, guys?
I think maybe a timeline of what's going on with Tad.
The timeline of what's going on with that. All right. So here's what we're going to do. Bear with me. What I'm going to do is I am going to manage this mouse. We're going to.
This timeline keeps getting longer and longer
And
very quickly.
Crazy. It is madness crazy. All right. So here we go. I'm going to timeline the heck out of this. If I can just read in a straight line, that'll all make sense as much as it can make sense. And so here we go. On February 7th, I went to the Keller City Council and I said, guys, would you please consider recalling the chairwoman of TAD? Of course, that wasn't the first time they had heard of this. They had so many people in the public sector going to their meetings saying, hey, we need to change it, TAD. We need this and that. And that prompted this Keller City Council and mayor to say, hey, what in the world's going on at TAD? We're seeing it in the headlines. Our constituents are coming to the meetings. They're complaining about TAD and all this stuff is going on. Anyway, so finally, enough is enough. There's a report at TAD that they're trying to keep secret that allegedly shows criminal violations are taking place, and they're trying to not have that come out and be transparent. And to me, that's a problem. If you're trying to hide crimes, I'm going to draw the line there. I'm going to say something's got to change. We got to get it on the agenda. If it's not getting on the agenda, that's the straw that broke the camel's back for me. So I said, Keller, will you consider a recall? I'm going to give you a detail that's kind of different. There's a new name I'm going to throw out there. I don't really want to throw this name out there, but I'm going to because I think it's becoming more relevant. Are you ready
Okay.
for this name?
I don't know if I am.
You know the name.
Do I?
It's somebody I like a whole lot. I don't know her. Her name's Julie Waddell. She showed up at that meeting and she videotaped the meeting. You know, because now we have tape. No, she was video. You still call it videotape? Yeah. She was recording the meeting with her cell phone. All right. That's fine. I've got nothing bad to say about her. She's entered the picture of this web of things. And so her name's going to be. All right, let's keep going. Go ahead.
Why was she there to record it?
That's a good question. She was recording. She is a private citizen. She can do that. But here's the thing that is of interest to me is that she's Jeff Law's assistant.
Okay. All right.
Whether that relates to the story, you be the judge. I don't know. All right. So next, on the 21st of February, Keller voted unanimously to recall Wildman.
7-0.
7-0. And the mayor had an incredible speech. If you haven't heard the speech, you should go listen to it. It's what you would hope any politician would say. Did you hear the speech?
I did.
Did you hear the speech?
Outstanding.
What did you think about the speech?
I thought it was very specific, and I appreciated that.
What was the vibe? What was the kind of a main theme of the speech?
Taking charge, making executive decisions, and paying attention.
Yep. And it's like standing up for the little guy, being a advocate for the citizens and the taxpayers. It's cool. Anyway, at that meeting, Julia Woodell, Jeff Law's assistant, stood up and spoke. I thought it demonstrated to me, I thought she was really intelligent. I thought she had a lot of good things to say. Whether they have merit or not, I don't know. That's kind of above my head. Then you had Tony Pompa, who's a board member, who stood up and spoke at that meeting, trying to against the recall. They didn't want to see the recall happen. So anyway, they voted 7-0. Moving on. February the 22nd, which was the very next day, at 11:33 a.m., the Keller City Council hand delivered a notice to the appraisal district saying, we have recalled the chairwoman, or we have voted, and here's a resolution to recall the chairwoman. That's done. Then at 2:31 p.m., Ms. Wildman emailed her resignation. Okay, so the timing of those events matters. Then on March the 3rd, there was a meeting that a TAD appraisal district board meeting, and I'm going to play like it looks like about 20 seconds of this meeting if I can do it. This will be the first time ever you're witnessing live on Facebook or YouTube. You're going to see a live video being played for the first time ever at Chandler Crouch Realtors. And let's see if we can do this. I'm just going to click this button. We're going to pull that up, pull it over there, press pause really fast. Boom. We're going to go over here to this technology. I'm giving you the play-by-play of every click. And I'm going to present this other screen. Oh, a video file. I can present a video file. I wonder what will happen there if I click that button. That's not going to work. Let's go present this other screen. Boom. It's going. Are you in suspense as I click buttons and tell you about it?
I'm always.
I know I am.
Share tab audio. Boom. All right. Somebody. There it is. There it is. If you can hear this when I press play, let me know. And we're going to probably have to be silent so we don't dominate the volume. Are you ready? Here we go. 3, 2, 1. The audio is the most important part. So if you can't hear the audio, please send me a message. All right, here we go.
This is going to be a confusing matter, I believe, to the taxing entities because there's going to be a notice of vacancy sent out. There's going to be a notice of recall sent out. As the board has kind of discussed and Mr. Tepper has advised, there's no specific wording in the law that says one action supersedes the other or one action supersedes the other. The recall doesn't supersede the vacancy and the vacancy doesn't supersede the recall. So I just wanted to try to make from a point of transparency, I just want to try to make it clear that when the taxing entities get a notice of vacancy and then they get a notice of recall, really only those 8 entities that Mr. Diot referred to will actually be able to take action with regards to the recall.
Okay. And so the funny thing is all y'all could hear it, but we couldn't hear it. So the really important thing to hear in that is that Mr. Law said on advice from counsel that neither the resignation nor the recall takes precedence. One doesn't supersede the other, and then he repeats it, right? Did y'all hear that? Did y'all hear that? I need Susan Barnard Crouch, if you could let me know. Did you hear that part of the video where he said neither takes one precedence over the other? Somebody comment really fast. We're live. Joe, I need a comment now. Okay, background. Yes, Aaron. Okay, cool. So here's the thing. You know, the attorney counsel that he's talking about, that he's basically quoting, that guy is sitting right there. If you can see my mouse, I'm circling this dude. That's the counsel right there. He's sitting right there. His name is Matthew Tepper, and that's the guy that he was kind of quoting from. All right. So here's the reason why this is important. It's important because the process to fill the vacant seat for a recall is completely different than a resignation. If the resignation wins out, then those guys that were sitting on that board, they pick their own replacement, basically. If the recall wins out, then the taxing entities get to pick, which basically means me and you get a representative on that board because the people who we're electing as our representative, gets to pick somebody that represents our interests. Okay. How are we doing so far? Is it
Yeah, it's great.
All
I'm
right.
just excited.
all right? Got to keep going this
Yeah.
timeline. I'm gonna power through. I assume some of you have probably watched the reports. So here's the deal: does the board get to choose the replacement, or do our elected officials get to choose somebody that represents us? That's the big question. So here's the weird thing. I heard about this point, I heard a rumor that Ms. Wildman and the ex-judge, Judge Whitley, were making phone calls to the commissioners, the Tarrant County commissioners, and maybe other people, I don't know, advocating for Ms. Wildman. And I think it's really, really weird that they were advocating. Now, I heard a rumor
Because she resigned.
because she resigned.
Right.
That tells me she's done.
No.
So why in the heck are these phone calls being made? I don't know. I came out with a video. I mentioned this in the video, but before I pressed play on that video, what I did was I thought I'm going to be talking about Ms. Wildman and Judge Whitley, ex-Judge Whitley, and I thought the right thing to do is to call them and give them a chance to explain what the heck is going on here. And so I called. Ms. Wildman hung up on me. But to Judge Whitley's credit, that guy sat on the phone with me for 20 minutes and answered every question that I had. Kind of. I mean, he didn't give me the answers I wanted, but he was very forthright and didn't back down. He said, yes, I'm making phone calls. I'm a private citizen. I have the right to do that. Yeah, you do. Absolutely. And you know what? Credit to that dude, because it took me I made one phone call. Somebody gave me his cell phone number. They didn't have to check with him. So he had obviously said, if somebody calls asking for me, you can give him my cell phone number. I called that guy and he immediately gave me 20 minutes of his time. So I want to give respect for that. I don't have to agree with everybody, but I want to be able to have that kind of respect. So that was cool. But they're basically, I'm going to give my judgment of this. They were campaigning for Catherine Wildman. Why are you going to campaign for somebody who just resigned? Doesn't make sense. So the theory that I heard that you're not going to see in any newspaper is that the idea was that the recall if the recall did not go through and the resignation path went through, then this board might pick their own replacement, and that replacement could be Catherine Wildman.
It doesn't make any sense. Why would they do that? It's crazy.
Why would they do that? So here's the big. I'll answer that. I'll answer this question with a question, or with the question that I want to know. Why do these people care so much about who's sitting on that board? That's the question. Why did Randy Armstrong, when he was on White Settlement ISD, make sure the incumbents kept staying on that board? Why is it such a big deal? Why are they fighting tooth and nail to cause problems in this? All right, but it doesn't stop there. Let's keep going with this timeline. All right, that's the big question. That was a real weird part of this. So then, March the 6th, Jeff Law who's the chief appraiser, he's like the CEO of the appraisal district. He sends out a notice saying that there's a recall happening, which he told us he was going to do. He sent out a notice saying there was a resignation and a recall. He admitted it's going to be confusing. We all knew that going into it. Then March the 7th, the Tarrant County Commissioner Court and Judge Tim O'Hare voted to recall the chairwoman. It was a 4-1 vote. The one was Gary Fickus. He's had a long-time relationship with Ms. Wildman, and I think that all the sentiments are there, but he was probably voting on what he knew her character to be over many years. And from all accounts, it was good. She has a good reputation. I don't have anything bad to say about her. I just wish that the items on the agenda were a little bit different, and that's kind of what precipitated this whole issue of the recall in general. But anyway, 4-1, they voted for the recall. So then, here's the crazy thing. I'm going to show you this document here. I'm about to flash it up on the screen. So let's go back to the timeline. On March the,
Can you see it?
not yet. On March the 7th, the Commissioners Court voted for the recall. Then, hold on. I need to stop sharing that one. I'm going to share another one. I'm giving my click by click thing. I need to share an entire daggum screen. Boom, boom. There we go.
Everybody can see what kind of YouTube I watch. Great.
Oh, sorry. You got no secrets. All right, there you go. So the day after the recall, this is just a town here. Mayor Pat Jacob. He is a man of the people. He is a guy that needs to get reelected, by the way. But anyway, he just received this, as did several other taxing entities. This is a notice that needed to be, or a notice that was sent out. Now, see, it says it's dated March the 3rd, but the taxing entities didn't receive this on March the 3rd. They received this document on, where's my timeline? They received this document on March the 9th. Dated March 3rd, but they received it on March the 9th, which is conveniently 2 days after the Commissioner Court voted for the recall. That's about how much time it would take for the mail to run. So I'm thinking recall happened, they voted for it, and then here's this, and I'm gonna boil it all down. We've already talked about the difference between the recall, the resignation, and the issues there. There is one sentence that caused this entire Metroplex to freak out. And here's the sentence right here. It says, since I can't, it's the second to last paragraph. It's the last sentence. It says, since the recall process was only initiated, it is now canceled as a result of the vacancy. That sentence right there caused the Keller City Council, actually Mayor Mazzani, to send a letter. I'll say leader of the people, leader of Tarrant County, Mayor Mazzani, to send a letter threatening legal action that says if the recall isn't upheld and we don't get a chance to weigh in on who that replacement's going to be, the appraisal district is about to have a legal problem. And I would not want to face that man in court. He posted about it on Facebook. And then that was on the 9th. On the 10th, Tim O'Hare, I will say leader of Tarrant County, Tim O'Hare, Judge Tim O'Hare, knocked on Phil Sorrell's door, the district attorney, and the district attorney sent a letter to the appraisal district saying, watch out, there's legal problems coming if you're telling us this vacancy is canceled, or this process of recall is canceled. And then it was not too long after that, on the 10th, that our state representative, Charlie Guerin, he represents some of the most affluent parts of Fort Worth. This is a guy that's been in the House of Representatives for many, many years, one of the longest standing people. And then he's also holds this office inside the House of Representatives that's like the second guy in charge. This is a guy that carries power. He filed a bill on the 10th that said that it's a bill to abolish the Tarrant Appraisal District completely. Now, and really what it is, it wouldn't go away. It would just basically be like a government takeover of the appraisal district, kind of like you're hearing about FDIC taking over these banks, or like the
Taking over school district.
yeah, TEA taking over a school district. It's like the people there wouldn't lose their job, but you would have a different controlling entity over it. And this stuff happened because of that one sentence right there. Since the recall process was only initiated, it is now canceled as a result of the vacancy. That's crazy to me. So if you back up a little bit in this paragraph, let's look at what he says. He says so Jeff Law signed the letter. So I'm going to say Jeff Law he's the guy saying that the appraisal district's attorney that provides counsel to the board provided advice to the board concerning these two provisions. Who he's talking about there, just to cut through it, is that same guy sitting in this chair right here. He's the attorney that provides advice to the board. His name is Matthew Tepper, and you can hear Jeff Law in this meeting say, on the advice of this guy, neither supersedes the other. Well, in this letter, he's saying that guy is saying that the recall is canceled.
It's crazy.
So the question that I have is, who's saying the recall is canceled? All right, let's press pause on that. We're going to fast forward just a bit. The next thing I want to say is This person I did not want to bring up, but I'm going to bring up because she just keeps popping up. You've got this newspaper article written by Jess Harden. This person was quoted down here. Oh, poor Michael over. Kind of mean that, but down here you've got a quote from, again, Julie Waddell saying, okay, so here's the letter from the district attorney, Tim O'Hare. There's Armin Mazzani's letter. And then we have Jeff Law's assistant wrote that Jeff referenced the appraisal district's attorney that provides counsel to the board, provided advice to the board concerning these provisions. Jeff was only reflecting what the board advised them on. We're only reflecting what the boards advised them on. I hope that's helpful. So you have his assistant. I've got a question. Why didn't Jeff Law make this quote? Why is she in here? I don't want her to be in the story because she's a nice person. She's a smart person. And I think that the trouble is just beginning on this whole thing. And I don't think it would be good for her to get wrapped up into this. But she's in it. So can avoid that. So then the question is, where did this come from? All right, let's move forward just a bit more. And the letter that you're not going to see anywhere else is this letter right here. After Keller threatened legal action, the district attorney threatened legal action, and Charlie Guerin threatened to abolish the appraisal district, it deserves a response. And here's that response. This was a response from Jeff Law, written to the district attorney, signed by Jeff Law. And I'm not going to read the whole thing. If you want to pause the video, you can go back and read it. But here's the first part of that letter. Here's the second part of that letter. And here's what I want to mention. Nowhere in this letter does he mention the previous letter that said the recall was canceled. And in this letter, he kind of is talking on behalf of the board, although he says he can't put words in the board's mouth, but he's just saying, I don't think that the board is going to have a problem. I don't think we're going to have any legal trouble. I think it's all going to be okay. And so it almost looks like, since nobody in this letter is being assigned responsibility for the last sentence in that other one saying that the recall is canceled, then the question is, who said that sentence?
Mm-hmm.
I would assume that if Jeff Law was the person that came, that if like he was the one taking ownership of that sentence, he would have taken ownership for it in this letter, this kind of the explanation letter in response to that. But it makes it sound like he's kind of pinning it on the board, because all he's talking about is he's saying, hey, the board is in control of this entire thing. So I've got a big question. Today, we have an appraisal district board meeting at 1:00. Let me pull this off so I can. So here we go. Where are we at? I want to see myself. Where's the video? There we go. We have an appraisal district board meeting at 1:00, 2500 Handley Etterville Road in Fort Worth. It is open to the public. You're welcome to attend. You should attend. Your elected officials should attend. The only purpose for this meeting is to address the legal threats of the city of Keller, the legal threats of Tarrant County, and the legislation filed to potentially abolish the appraisal district. And I've got one question leading into this meeting. Who authorized the cancellation of the recall process that triggered this whole thing? Who's going to take ownership of that sentence? What are we going to hear in response to that? That's the only question that I need answered. And the fact that that response letter didn't cover that is a question. Why didn't the response letter cover that? And it makes me think, is it the board that authorized the cancellation? If so, we need to know. Was it the attorney that authorized the cancellation? Or did Jeff Law come up with this? And why didn't we? Yeah, what's up with that? What's up with that? All right, guys. I got to chill out a little bit. Oh, this is too much. This is too much. All in it. Okay. What are your thoughts, guys? Do you have it? What questions are people thinking? What questions do you have?
I don't understand how they could get any idea that they could possibly decide, hey, this recall has been triggered by the entities that we were responsible to, but I decided, no, it's not. I'm going to do what I want anyways. I don't understand what the possible legal precedent could be or how they could possibly think that that was a good idea. It seems like they're just inviting legal problems.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think that part of the issue here with a lot of the problems we're seeing is the risk averse nature that the appraisal district has. And the risk that they are looking at is they'll go and look at the law and they'll say, oh, it looks like the law says we're only allowed to do these couple of things. But then they forget about the risk of not taking action. So I was told that there was a risk involved in firing Randy Armstrong, because what if they get sued? And I'm thinking, what is the risk of not firing him? Well, I'll tell you, we're living out that risk right now. It's many newspaper articles. It is unrest. It's legal threats. It's abolishing the appraisal district. I mean, so here's and he's scheduled for retirement, apparently, April the 14th, the day before value notices go out, the day before you get your value notice, he's retiring. So anyway, the point is that I think that what we're seeing, the Keller and the Keller mayor and Judge O'Hare and the commissioner's court, what we're seeing them do is act more in the spirit of the law and act more in the spirit of the fundamentals of what makes our society good and right, which is when we have a government official standing up, one of their top responsibilities, no matter what it says on any sheet of paper, one of their top responsibilities is to protect the rights of those that they govern. That's it. Can we agree on that? And when you have something on paper that appears to go against that, or you have a decision that involves some risk, but not making that decision, or making a decision that maybe goes with the letter of the law, or appears to go with the letter of law, if it goes against that main principle, and you don't recognize the risk of going against the principle that protects the rights of those that are governed, then you're going to have hell to pay. And it's going to be much worse than whatever you would have risked by doing this R2D2, like, let's see what the law says. And it's like, I don't want to minimize the law, but that's the reason we have a legislature. That's the reason we have judges. That's the reason we have this judicial system that has people that think and reason, and juries and, debates, is because sometimes laws need to be adjusted and they're not clear. And when they go counter to the principles that they're supposed to preserve, then you know what? Those principles, immutable. Tell me about it, Joel.
The immutable principles that guide the entirety of our civilization.
There you go.
Our society.
Yeah. Some of these things are self-evident, right?
Well, I think when you have confusion, what does that cause with people's trust? What does that do? You have confusion, and people are calling me at the office asking, is my tax bill correct? I don't believe my tax bill is correct.
No.
Right now, there are so many people calling us saying, I see problems, and it just might be a misunderstanding, but the message is clear that people they don't believe what's coming out of TAD right now.
Yeah.
There's no legitimacy to what is happening.
Mm-hmm. Or like a couple of the phone calls that we've had coming into the office where somebody says, hey, I bought my house 5 years ago. I filed my homestead. I look on TAD's website. It appears that my homestead is there. But 5 years later, they get a bill in the mail that says, I'm sorry. The exemption you had on your property was not your exemption. It was the previous owner's exemption. We just didn't realize that until now. And their exemption was an over 65 exemption, which is illegal for the appraisal district to display on their website. So
nobody knew that it was messed up.
Nobody knew it was messed up. They filed an application and they see they have a homestead exemption. They think, well, that must be my exemption because there's no way to know otherwise. And then they get a bill in the mail for 5 years of back taxes.
$12,000.
$12,000, and the law only allows them to retroactively file their own homestead exemption
2 years.
2 years. So now they got to pay taxes for 3 years.
Yeah.
It's like those are the kind of issues that it didn't happen because anybody had bad intent, but because we're dealing with this nonsense bullcrap going on,
Right.
That's not getting the attention it deserves, and we're dealing with these.
Ridiculous.
Phil, keep me from cussing, please. Give me the words.
Eat a donut. So, okay.
No, sorry.
Exactly. And by the way, the $12,000 bill is due at the end of the month.
At the end of the
That's
month.
insane.
Welcome.
There are essentially two possibilities, right? Either Tad is going to say they're so incompetent that, oops, this mistake just happened, but we still want you to trust you to do your taxes, or it's so purposely negligent that, oops, we're just going to be negligent and you're still going to pay your taxes.
Right.
I'll tell you what's going to happen. And we've started to go down this path. Tad's going to say, all we're supposed to do is keep good records. We found an error here.
Mhm.
So we have to correct the error. Errors happen. We all accept errors are going to happen. I get that. It's what you do in response to those errors that matter. And you can't just say, whoops. Wendy Burgess and the tax assessor are the ones that are asking for the money. So you need to go look at them for the solution.
Yeah.
You know what she's going to do?
She's like, it's not my job.
She's going to point back to the appraisal district and say, well, I'm just told how much money is owed. I've just got to collect that money. It's their problem that the exemption issue is there. And now we're in a situation where these poor people are stuck with this $12,000 bill and they're completely getting screwed. And some people might wonder, well, why, Chandler, why are you spending all this time with the appraisal district dealing with all this stuff? What is that going to do for my tax bill? You know what? Truth is, appraisal district does a pretty decent job of valuing properties. Our system requires them to value properties at levels that are just insane. Like, we're all about to get value notices that are going to be a 10 to 20% increase over where they were last year. And the reason is because the appraisal district is going to look at comps, comparable sales, spanning the entire 12 months from January 1st to January 1st. Well, our real estate market had this, I'll show you what our real estate market did. It was just wild. Hold on. I've got to get into your email and I don't want to like flash up whatever nonsense you've got in there. But I'm going to, go ahead.
Mention one thing.
Please.
Also, with the exemption issue, it wasn't just the one, it was in 1 month we had, within a span of about 4 months, nine people
9 people with that same issue where they were getting
Yeah.
back taxed for no
From-
reason.
buying a house in 2018.
We had 9 people that were told they have.
And that's just who we know. We don't know of all the other people.
Yeah, those are because we represent. Here's part of the reason why I believe that these complaints were these false allegations, the smear campaign to try and shut me down and keep me from helping people. Look, there are only a couple reasons why they're doing this. Number one, because we kick butt and take names. We give people the kind of service that they would hope that they would get. We just don't charge for it, and the numbers got to be huge. And so they're saying, hey, when the values are up here on all these properties, and then we get them down here, then it's a problem because they're like, wait a second, this is screwing with our balance sheet. And then the other thing is, we have 28,000 properties. When you have that many properties, it gives us the opportunity to get 9 of these notices to kind of see a bigger glimpse of what's going on.
Yeah.
Without representing that many people, we wouldn't get to see some of these patterns. We wouldn't know what problems exist that we might need to solve. So it's an opportunity to play a bigger role in this. So let me just show you this chart here. You've got, this is the graph of what our real estate prices are doing. I could talk about this for a while, obviously, because I'm in real estate, and this is stuff that matters to me. Okay, so you see down here, it says January of 2022, and over here you see January of 2023. Well, see this little place where we're at on the graph? The red line is Tarrant County, and that's a blue line, right? That's a blue line is the entire MLS. Those are all of the sales that happen. So what happens is the value that they're going to propose is the value that they can justify of what your home was worth on January 1st of 2023. Okay. And since your property only gets revalued once a year, then what they do is they go look back at the entire previous year to see what sales have occurred over the past year. And look where all those sales are going to happen. We're right here. I wish I could draw a line on this, but if you just draw a line straight back from this point, look at, oopsie daisies. You've got all these sales in this upper region that are going to be used to justify your value. So they're going to say that the value of your home is much higher than it actually is. And here's the thing. The appraisal district is going to get a good hard slapping from people coming in their office, all-time high protests, because now we've got inflation going on. The cost of all of our stuff is going up. And now we're going to get a tax bill way up here when the actual real present day value of our home is here. And then you know what's happening? Y'all saw that on that chart where the values are already creeping back up. So look at it. So the values are already, you can see this uptrend. By the way, real estate values are only going to be going up from this point. If you're looking to buy or sell, now's the time to do it. Because by the time you make a decision to do it, they're going up again. I'm just telling you, that's what's happening here. And then what's going to happen is over the course of the year, we're going to see higher and higher sales. So then guess what's going to happen next year when values come out? They're going to have high comps to be able to justify the value, and we're not going to get a break. Me and you have been paying a price for the economic turmoil that we've been in. We've got inflation going on. We've got wacky stuff happening in the world that we're having to pay a price on. But the taxing entities that base their tax bills and tax rates on our property values, they're not taking the same hit that we're taking, because in the course of 12 months, when you have this crazy roller coaster effect, they've got all the high sales that they need to justify increased values. So it's got me crazy. It just drives me nuts. So yes, your appraisal district matters. Behind the scenes, the property tax laws need to change. But we need our appraisal district leaders operating in the spirit of the law, saying, you know what, I see problems going on and we need to rectify these problems. We need to work in cooperation with the tax assessor and make sure when somebody gets a $12,000 bill out of the blue, they've been paying their taxes on time for 5 years and they get a bill like that. We need to protect that person and come up with some kind of extended payment plan, interest-free or something, to do something nice for this person, because it's un-American. Okay. What's next? All right, before we turn the page, appraisal district board meeting, 1:00 today, open to the public. Please go. If you're willing to say something out loud, please do that. 2500 Hindley, Etterville Road. Next.
And you won't have to wait out in triple-digit heat.
No triple-digit
this
heat.
time.
Yeah,
Okay.
hopefully.
So what's next with other taxing entities? We've got a couple of notes on
Breaking news
breaking news.
right here, right now. Who wants to break it?
Thank you.
Break it like like an egg. All right, we're breaking it like we're breaking news. Here's what's going to happen. All right, so we've got the Keller recall. The Tarrant County Commissioner Court did their recall. Mansfield, the city of Mansfield, is stepping up to the plate. They have it on their agenda. I think it's March 20th. I think it's March 20th is their meeting. I don't know what time. I don't know what address. If somebody wants to put it in the comments, please do that. But they're going to vote for the recall. And the reason why they're voting for the recall is because they want to say, Tarrant County and Keller, you're not alone. We see the same problems going on. But who knows? Maybe they're just a hotbed of Captain Wallman fans and they're going to go against it. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. The recall is happening no matter what, because Tarrant County Commissioner Court has enough votes to sway the entire thing. And we're just thankful that we have people in office there looking out for our rights and voting in accordance with what the people want. I've talked with some people on Keller City Council, Mansfield City Council, because unlike some of the board members at the appraisal district, they actually reach out to citizens and say, hey, what are the problems we need to be dealing with? And so I think that this one's going to get passed. I think they're going to vote for the recall. Then I'm going to give you some rumors that you're not going to hear anywhere else, because I'm not a news organization that has to triple check my sources. I'll just give you a rumor. How about that? Can we go National Enquirer? I'm the National Enquirer of property tax.
That has been known to break real news.
Oh, no. Yeah, they came out with the Rush Limbaugh stuff. They broke that
Yeah.
back in the day.
John Edwards.
John Edwards. Remember that old name. All right. Mansfield ISD has rumored to have an interest in putting the recall on their agenda. Same thing for Haltom City, and the commissioner, the Tarrant County College they have been talking about it as well. I don't know if it'll end up on the agenda for Tarrant County College, and I don't know the way that vote will go. I think that there's a little internal battle there. Shannon Wood needs your support. She's tremendous standing up for the people on that. And you might think, why do I care about Tarrant Community College? I'll tell you why. Because when you pay your tax bill, there's a good chance, if you're living within the sound of my voice, which, no, I shouldn't say that because this is World Wide Web. But if you're in Tarrant County, there's a good chance that a portion of your property taxes are going to pay for Tarrant Community College. So that's what's going on. What else we got? What's next on the agenda? What other breaking news? All right, let's do this. I'm going to put you, my fine, young, single friend with the most beautiful left arm of anybody I've ever seen. It's a piece of art. You're hiding it. You're depriving the public from seeing your beauty, but it is there. Ladies, you need to know. Get this man's shirt off. This is when my mom and my wife say, Chandler, you've got to delete that Facebook Live. You stepped over the line again. She's not my wife, by the way.
Hi, Mama Crouch.
Yeah, my mom. All right.
Hi, Jeremy, my husband.
Oh, yeah, you should. Somebody needs to pay attention to these comments. All right. So
Yes.
I want to tell you something. Do you have a financial degree or license
No,
of any
I do
sort?
not. I have none whatsoever.
But here's the crazy thing. There's something called SPY index.
Yes.
Okay. There's this thing called the SPY index. We're all sitting in our office, and he's like, "Guy, what day was this?
Which was last Friday.
Last Friday. We're all sitting in the office, and he's like, guys, I'm looking at something that's just freaking me out. He's like, the entire financial market just fell off a shelf, and he went and clicked up CNN and MSNBC or whatever other sites, and they're like, and nobody's talking about it. This is the weirdest thing. I don't understand. He's like, this looks like a bigger collapse than the 2008 meltdown, and I'm not seeing it. He's like, something's going on. And then give it 2 days, and all of a sudden it's all over the news. Well, the same darn thing happened the day before the Credit Suisse thing came out.
Yeah.
He's like, there's this thing called, am I saying it right?
Yeah.
And I know I'm just dominating this conversation, but I'm going to give you the spotlight. I
No,
promise.
that's fine.
All right. You want to hear what this man has to say, and you might want his phone number if you're a single lady. But he was telling us about the Credit Suisse and how this is a monumental financial bank institution or whatever. And he's like, watch, if this Credit Suisse thing goes down, then this whole worldwide economy we're going to see is going to be in devastation. And I'd never heard of this before. It wasn't on the news anywhere. And then all of a sudden give it like 48 hours and it's everywhere. So Joel, I'm going to say that, nobody's going to take your financial advice because you don't have any credentials to give it.
Financial advice to give.
But you have my endorsement of I listen to you. So
Yeah.
I want to hear, what do you think, what's going on right now?
So essentially what's happened is that banks have been allowed to take on a huge amount of risk without any regard to their margin requirements, which has resulted in these banks taking super risky bets that have been blown up in their face because, that's what happens when you take risky bets. Sometimes they turn on you. It started with SVB or Silicon Valley Bank, and they went under, they failed. And the reason they failed was because their losses were greater than what they have on the balance sheet, which triggered a lot of the people who have their money in the bank to cause a bank run. Because Silicon Valley Bank services a lot of tech people, that caused what's called a contagion or like a fear in the financial market, which caused a couple other banks to have issues. I know Signature Bank got shut down last week. But what was super interesting is that this was all happening on Friday. You didn't really see it on the news much at all. And then on Sunday last week, the Congress called an emergency meeting with 15 minutes notice on Zoom.
Which I haven't heard about this. Okay,
Crazy.
okay, Congress called a meeting with 15 minutes notice on Zoom.
Yep.
On like Sunday?
Yep.
Okay. I haven't heard about that in the news anywhere.
Nope.
That's okay. All right, keep going.
So the only reason I know that is because I used to work for a congressman and I still have people who are in politics and text me. But,
Ooh. That's
Sources.
juicy.
so they had an emergency meeting. Then the Federal Reserve had an emergency meeting on Sunday about the integrity of the financial system. And then on Monday they say,
Okay, wait. Do the people, is that common knowledge that the Federal Reserve had this emergency? Okay, I didn't know that, but anyway.
they all had an emergency meeting. On Monday, you see all the everybody in the financial news goes, whoops, didn't see this one coming. Somehow there's a huge financial crisis and it's the second largest bank failure in U.S. history since 2008. How did that happen? On stocks that Jim Cramer was recommending like 2 weeks before that.
Yeah. Surprise.
Weird.
Is it his fault that all happened?
Weird. You know what I'm going to say? Yeah. I know he's involved.
But think about it. Yeah, he's part of the, what is it, Illuminati or Bilderberg? Who do we need? The lizard people.
The lizard people.
It's the lizard people that are doing it. But so what do you think are the odds that this truly was a surprise? Or do you think, let me just get big picture. What's going on now that we're not hearing in the news that, according to the psychic abilities or inside knowledge of Joel?
Oh, I'm prepared to speculate wildly.
Let's do it. We need views. That's what we're doing this for. We need clicks and views. And
what I think is happening is I think not a lot of people have really good financial literacy, and I think that we're feeling the after effects of COVID and of the federal government printing, or the Federal Reserve printing, a couple $1 trillion casually. That just encourages, and then telling banks you don't have to have any risk management because we'll just print you more money.
So if you saw my minimal understanding, is like, I need this dumbed down to kindergartner level. And if you saw my Facebook post, it was just this. It was just saying a bailout is it's basically just solidifying that the profits that these companies receive are privatized, but the losses are socialized. So in other words, a handful of people are getting really crazy rich, but then when they lose a bunch of money, they don't have to pay the price. Yes. And this is kind of like permission to them. Now, I'm on the side of the fence that I don't like, is a bailout a good idea? I think that there's definitely a part of a bailout that is a really freaking horrible idea. I like fair market principles, but I also understand if something's not done, like, what's going to happen? Or is our society fall apart? It's like, I don't know the question. I'm glad I'm not in a position to make those decisions. I'll just, operate from a set of principles as saying, like, the rich, the top 1% definitely shouldn't get, relieved from the punishment of suffering the consequences of their own decisions. Like, that's a bad idea, but it shouldn't be at the price of all of us. And I'll say from that principle standpoint, that's where I'm going to stay. Now, what decisions make that happen? I don't know. I think that's all kind of theoretical because I don't know what kind of decisions would lead to that. I can come up with a theory, but I don't know.
It's super interesting. It's really unprecedented. There's never been, this is the second largest bank failure in U.S. history, and it has not, they say there's not a bailout because it's not going to come at any cost to the taxpayer, because the government would never lie to you. Don't worry about it. Just trust them. They've never lied before. They got a perfect track record. Through a fund.
What happened to Building 7? I'm just kidding. Sorry. All right, go ahead.
So they have a fund that, they just trotted out and said it's from bank fees that they've been paying into the whole time. Don't worry about it. Don't look into it. Just trust us. It's not going to come in any effect to the taxpayer. The problem with that is that fundamentally it does, because all this is doing is stoking inflation. And the Federal Reserve has backed themselves into a corner now where they're being pressured to lower rates, so that what happened with SVB and why they blew up was because they were not hedged against the Fed's rapid increasing of rates. So because of that, they had a lot of investments that went negative because they weren't expecting interest rates to go up so sharply. So they had poor risk management, which caused the bank to collapse. The collapsed bank, the federal government comes in, they bail them out, or not bail them out, they don't bail them out. And then you get the whole mess around.
I'm just glad that I'm around people that understand a little bit more about what's going on, because I'm understanding a little bit, but there's one thing that I understood that you told me, like, before we started this recording. I said, so what's going on? And you said nothing.
Yeah.
But really, what's going on?
We're experiencing inflation.
Well, what do you think they're doing with their own money?
With their own money? Oh, they're moving. It's the same thing in 2008. Everything was fine. Then one day they just go, Lehman Brothers collapsed. Whoops. Weird. And then everything's fine. Don't worry about it. We have full confidence in the market. I don't know. I was barely a teenager in 2008, but I remember my dad.
He's young, ladies.
Into this. Not that young anymore. It's the same thing. Everything's fine. Don't worry. Don't stress. Behind the scenes, anyone with money, all smart money, is moving into a position to capitalize on this, or to at least protect as much of their losses as they can.
There you go.
And nobody knows what's going to happen next. I don't even think the federal government knows what's going to happen next. I think it's become pretty clear they're making it up as they go along. And I think that they've been playing with fire for longer than people have realized. And I think it's finally coming back.
I think it's this. Okay. How does Epstein relate to this? We just need to get Epstein's name. That's my goal now, to bring up Epstein in I'm going for clicks, or maybe it'll shadow ban me. Will Epstein shadow ban? Yeah. Maybe that's a bad idea. Maybe we'll just stick with lizard people.
I like lizard people.
I don't know. Anyway, I don't know anything about anything. I just know that there is more stuff going on. It's a good idea to buy ammunition. I'm just kidding. Okay, look, this is getting off the roll. The wheels are coming off. Look out for your neighbors. Don't be, I have sales meetings all the time because what I do is I'm a real estate broker. I've got a team of real estate agents. And so we're talking about sales and what to do. At the core of it, at the very core, the thing that needs to happen, whether you're talking sales or you're talking about freak out moments or whatever, is don't lose your humanity. Yeah. People want to be able to trust you. They want to have a genuine relationship. And if you're providing something valuable for somebody and they know they can trust you, like the value is going to come back to you. You know, people are willing to pay for valuable things. And if you've got a neighbor, don't lose your humanity. If all hell's breaking loose and you have the ability to help your neighbor, help your neighbor. Yeah. And don't, the government's not the answer. That's for sure. The government is not the answer. Now, the government should protect our rights, and the government, we just hope that the government doesn't screw things up, and that's it. And I would say that for all of the experimental governments that have ever existed, who knows where we're going to go from here? But we're lucky to be able to sit here and talk trash about the government. I can say that much at least.
I think we should remember the golden rule too. Yeah.
Tell me about this golden rule.
We just have to treat others the way we want to be treated.
That's it.
And can I say Jesus?
You can definitely say Jesus. That's the only hope we have in this whole mess.
Let's be governed by Jesus.
Yeah.
Golden rule.
Amen. Yeah, that's it. All right. So now here's the thing. We've got let me tell you a little bit. I got to talk business for a second because the deal is when we started this experiment of just helping people and asking for nothing in return, that's kind of what we were doing. In fact, the whole idea behind this is that it's no secret. There've been news articles written about me talking about faith, but faith is not about going to church and adhering to a list of rules and trying not to sin. That's not it. There's freedom that comes in Jesus Christ, in love. And when you hear people and you feel something kind of horrible and toxic coming from this a religious ideology, more times than not, it's just that. It's religion, and it's kind of a necessary component of the whole thing. But people get off the mark really easy. And when we want to come right back to what are we supposed to be doing with our lives? How do we live out this faith in a true and genuine way? It's going to come right back to this principle of the golden rule and helping other people and trying to emulate the characteristics of love that Jesus had whenever he died on the cross and gave himself for all of us so that we might experience the same kind of freedom. And so with that comes, how do we live out our purpose? I think it's really easy to lose sight of the fact that true business, and I will even say a true form of capitalism, not this hedge fund, micro trading, like weirdness, huh?
Crony capitalism?
Yeah, not the crony capitalism, like the idea of supply and demand, where you have to think about the needs and the problems of the people that you're serving. You have to offer something valuable considering them. And if you give something valuable, then it can justify their ability to give you value in exchange for what you're providing. And so it's like it frees us up to be able to do really crazy things like let's just provide a bunch of value to people, treat people like our neighbor, and try and figure out in this capitalistic society when we have the choice to pick and choose what we're going to do, like we can try and find a set of problems to solve that create value. They're valuable problems, and we get to live out some of those higher principles of treating someone like we would want to be treated. And that's it in a nutshell. Boy, I had kind of a twisted way of saying that, but did it make sense?
Yep.
Okay, if it made sense to y'all, then that's all that matters. So I'm gonna shut this video camera off. We'll still be in this room.
Yeah.
So that's it. So the idea was
That's my email.
Yeah. I emailed everything to you.
Oh.
So the idea behind this is, how do we be as a company? How do we operate as a company? In at the core of it, it's like, well, we want to provide this valuable service, and we need to make a living. And I'm going to make no bones about it. I want to get rich, because here's the thing: if I can get rich, if I have a ton of money, I'm going to be able to help a lot of people. And I want to be able to make a stamp on the earth. And you can see what I do with my money already. I'm doing the best I can to help people. But it doesn't matter if you get paid a fee for helping someone or you do it for free. If you're helping somebody, I'm generally a fan of it. So we have to do stuff where we make money. And then if we can afford to help people for free, then I'm going to do that too. So the way that we make money is selling houses. And my thought is, if we can help a whole bunch of people and we put the skills and the passion and the care into helping people for free, then they get a taste of seeing how effective we can be. Nobody has the badge on the wall of being so effective at negotiating your home value than we do, that where the entire appraisal district tries to shut us down. Like, that's effective in negotiation. It wouldn't have mattered if we weren't effective. So, and you can see that we care. And so as a company, we look at, well, we want to provide value to people. How do we provide value? There's two different ways to provide value. Number one is we can provide value by offering things up front, like discounts on our services. And we might get a bunch of people to dogpile if we were like, I mean, for instance, on the free thing, people like free. I get it. I like free too. I also like cheap. But what I don't like is paying for something and cheaping out and then end up having to pay for it later, because that ended up being a very expensive decision to cheap out. And what you get in the end is not good. So here, I've experimented with different real estate business models where I had discount services. And then the problem is I was delivering value up front in the beginning of the transaction to get business. But then at the end of the transaction, I couldn't afford the marketing and the staff and the business infrastructure to make sure I was delivering the value all the way through to closing and beyond. And so what ended up happening was I was delivering value up front, but at the end, they were getting trash. Okay. On the opposite side, I thought, you know what do I care about most? I care that we're taking care of people's most valuable asset. And I want to create a business model that frees us up to actually give our best in every transaction and actually do what's necessary to take care of someone's home and their household and their financial future as best we can on what role we play. And we want to make sure that we're not skimping on this so that we leave them in the very best position possible. And so, you know what? That costs money. So we aren't the cheapest. We're not going to win business by cheaping out on the front end. But I'll tell you this, what we have done and we have a proven track record of is making sure when that transaction closes, 100% of our clients know that they got good service, quality service, and that we put them in a great position so that we put them in a nice spot so that whenever they get to live in that new home, that they know that they're in a good spot. It's like we deliver the value that makes sure that we end on a really high level, and we end up sacrificing some up front. I know that I'm the kind of guy that I'm kind of hard-headed. I love negotiating, and so I've had to learn the hard way that sometimes I'll cheap out and pay a small amount for something, and that ends up being a very costly decision for me because I pay the price later on. So I get it. Some people are just going to want to try and list their house for sale by owner or do whatever. And the truth is, if there are no problems whatsoever and you happen to have that buyer that happens to come across your plate at just the right time, it could end up being a great decision. But we're here for what happens if it doesn't happen in that picture perfect storybook scenario. We get a complicated scenario like where, what's a complicated scenario we've helped people? I should have had an example. I'm just riffing.
Roofing damage.
Roofing damage.
Of a deal, or the water
Okay.
pipe burst.
So here's a case. We had a situation where right before closing, we had one of these major storms. The freeze. Major roof problem. It looked like it was going to can the whole deal. Well, if we didn't have the resources infused into the process to make sure that we were really taking care of people, then that deal might have died right there. But because of the advanced knowledge that we have and the care that we can afford to put into these things, here's a little known fact. You can actually sell your house and file a claim on, and the new buyer can, or a claim can be, exercised, or what a claim can be filed on the old homeowner's insurance and pay out to replace that roof. Now, there are a lot of moving parts on this, but to me, that would have seemed impossible for you to sell your house and then you got a new owner on the house. That old mortgage or the old insurance company isn't even there. Most people don't know that it's actually possible to file a claim on the old homeowner's insurance. Now, there are probably some nuance of this that I don't know because we've only had this circumstance twice. We were able to file the claim before closing, and then the claim pays out after closing. And there were some agreements that we had to make to make it all work. Now, like, there's a lot of complexity to this, but the point is that we're in a position to be able to help navigate some of that complexity so that these people who have moving trucks ready and they're living in a hotel and they've got there's a job transfer, they've got an adoption situation going where all this stuff hinges on this massive financial decision, we can help them weave through this to set them up in the best possible way. So all of that just to say, we have an opportunity for you right now, and it is in the Marshall Ridge subdivision. I wish I had all the facts on this, but check this out. I'm just going to give you a quick home tour. We're going to try and get through this in about 30 seconds, but this is a house that we have that just came available in Marshall Ridge. It's a rare one-story house. You got these hand-scraped hardwood floors. The agent that's on this one is a agent that I have personally trained. Her name is Joan Armijo, and this is a beautiful house. The homeowners did an incredible job getting this thing ready. And if you wanted to walk through this house right here, right now, from the comfort of your own office chair or sofa or wherever you find yourself watching this live thing, then you can do that because we have this nice 3D tour. It's like Google Street View for real estate, and it's one of the coolest things that we have. Just place a comment below. I'll get you the link. But you've got this. You got the nice garden tub, and there's the expensive camera that makes all this possible. But this is a Marshall Ridge one-story house. It is an incredible thing. It's probably not going to be here forever. It's actually probably going to sell pretty quick. So if you're interested in that and you want to get a showing, just let me know. We'll get you a showing. And unlike the actions of government entities that like to escape responsibility for the happenings that are going on, like, you have a situation where appraisal district appraises the property and then the tax assessor collects the money and you're trying to, they're each pointing the finger at the other. You don't get that here. Here, I put my name on the company because I stand behind everything that we do. And if something's going on and you're not happy, the buck stops here. Of course, I couldn't do a fraction of what I'm doing without an amazing team of real estate agents and staff and folks that are just salt of the earth that I share values with and that I can trust as a representative of my name and what we're doing here to treat people right and take care of folks and live out some of those values we've already talked about. All right, guys, we've talked about the financial crisis. We've got breaking news. What did we talk about? Lies?
I would say we talked about a lot of lies.
We talked about a lot of lies. Yeah, we hit lies nice and hard. We brought in some Jesus. We brought in lizard people. What else do we need to cover? Is that anything? The address of that one is 419 Crystal. How about we do this? Let's really quickly look at some of these questions. If we have some questions here. Okay, there's some. Let's do this. All right. Good morning. Thanks for continuing to push change for we the people. Or is that hold on. Is this happening? Show. There it is. You got it, Sarah. You're awesome. Thank you so much for your support. We could not do what we're doing. The only reason why we're effective is because you guys are willing to send an email, show up to a meeting, and they know that I'm not just a lone person talking here. I'm here as your representative doing what I can to help fight to make sure that we get a fair shake in this wild and wacky world. Aaron Anderson is an incredible journalist for the Texas Scorecard. I'll tell you, these guys have been on it from day one. I cannot thank them enough for the work that they've done. We've got Aaron Anderson, then we've got Jess Harden with the Star Telegram. We've got Ed Brown, Fort Worth Weekly, Sarah Sadek and Emily, I forget her last name, with Fort Worth Report. Thank you. Print journalism, local print journalism is so valuable. And these guys, Erin is, her articles are the best. All right, let's keep going. I shouldn't even say this. Oh, look at this beautiful young lady. So beautiful. Let's go here. My mama, let's see here. We have somebody saying very interesting. They all have dirt on each other. Ooh, I'm glad you said it. I'm wondering what? Yeah. There are a couple things that make sense. Why do these people care so much? Without naming names, look, I got to say this. And every time I'm going to talk trash, I just want to say there are 200 employees at the appraisal district. So many of them are good people that have helped me, and they're helping you, and they have a thankless job. We cannot look. I made a Facebook post the other day that said, as soon as we start treating people like, if we're treating people like they are part of a group instead of an individual valuable person, uniquely valuable person, no matter what group they're a part of, then we start becoming like the people that we hate. The same thing goes with the appraisal district. I think certainly we can talk about that in terms of race relations or political affiliations, but the appraisal district also fits. Just because they're an employee of the appraisal district doesn't mean they're bad. They could be that good person that's going against the grain, fighting for me and you inside the system, which we really need. So it's important to treat each and every person like they are valuable. With that being said, I think that the thing that makes some of this lunacy make sense is that they might have dirt on each other. Maybe somebody's afraid of going to jail. So it might make some of these really wild, irrational decisions make a little bit more sense, because if you have that much to lose, then if secrets get out. I don't know, though. I don't know. I can't speak for them. I think that all we can do is keep asking the questions and fighting for right, and the truth will come out. Erin Anderson is blowing it up. She's got a lot of articles. If you haven't seen those comments, I don't know if they're on my company Facebook page, my personal Facebook page, or what, but go check those out. Let's see here. This man right here is he is the man. He's got a music video out.
Okay.
George Dotson's on Colleyville City Council, and he is a true leader. He stands up for the people, and salt of the earth man right there. Shout out to you, George. Thank you for what you do. Let's go here. I'm not going to read this one, but I'll just keep scrolling. Aaron. Oh, you know what? Thank you, Anna. Really appreciate you. Hey, look, here's the thing. We couldn't afford to do what we're doing if it weren't for people buying and selling houses through our company, our expert team of realtors. And so right now, as these times are changing, people are buying and selling houses. Please send them our way, and you can count on us. And I mean, quite frankly, I mean, we need the business. We need to be able to keep going and keep fighting. And so, if you can go the extra mile and send someone our way, it would be enormously helpful. Catching up, so I don't see any green. If I don't see any green, I don't know. Let's see. Rumors, love those rumors. I'm not going to put that one up. Let's see here. Just going to scroll through some of these other comments. What do we have here? Joel, could you read that out loud and give it an answer?
I cannot, but I can tell you, it says, Joel, so does the everyday white collar person have to worry about their bank accounts of their local Wells Fargo bank under $250,000? Probably no. I don't think so. It's fine.
There you go.
I keep all my money in the bank.
So listen to Jim Cramer.
Yeah, Kramer's always right.
No, you remember what happened to toilet paper during the I honestly think we have more to fear about the freak out than the actual situation. I think the freak out is the problem. So stock up on some water and keep your, I don't know. But I turned to him for my financial advice. Let's see here. Who do we have? Sarah. Sarah, you're awesome. Thank you so much. George is the man. And Layla Caraway is the woman. And shout out to Layla. She has been on a many-year-long battle at the water district. I hope she doesn't mind me saying that, but she has been standing up for good and helping people. And I'm going to give a shout out to a guy named Joe Ashton. Joe Ashton, I don't know him. I've never met him. I've just heard rumors. And I just want to tell you, this is crazy. That dude is the mayor of River Oaks, and he's the city manager for Pantego. Think about that. How many other people are out there going at it, going hard like this guy? He is a highly qualified man that stands up for people, and he's running for the water board. He's waterboarding. What's it called? Tarrant Regional Water District or whatever. So here's the thing. Me and you are affected by these property taxes all day long. When there's corruption and bad stuff going on, then we get to feel it. But I've got some friends like Layla that have inside scoop on what's going on at the water district. The level of corruption is like a multiple more than what we're seeing here as far as the amount of money that's affected. And it doesn't get near the attention. And so if you're like the best thing that you can do for the water district issue is just go vote. And Joe Ashton is the guy I've heard. I don't know anything else. All right. This now it says come meet Joe Ashton tomorrow, River Oaks Cafe at 4:30. There you go. All right, y'all. We're going to sign off with that. Appreciate you tuning in. It has been a pleasure. It's an hour and 10 minutes into this live broadcast. Tune in next Friday for more lies and scandal. And we're going to need to see those arms next time. Do you want to give your phone number?
No.
You never know. All right. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. And you're one of the lucky ones. We could end up deleting this live stream as soon as my wife and mom tell me that I said something that crossed the lines. I want to congratulate myself for not making any jokes about the microphone this time. I got to go. We're out. See you later.